What up guys, James here, aka the Pomp, and today we're going to be looking at one of Rustin's new water-based pomades and also seeing how it, along with a few other water-based products, are making oil-based pomades obsolete. And the reason why I say that is that we've seen a lot new water-based pomades. Like we've always had them, but in a gel-like form. But now today we have Odude's water-based pomade, the base pomade, Anchor Standard Board Original, Rustin's new water-based pomades, Sheer Revival Crystal Lake. We have a huge range of these new water-based pomades that are not gel-like. They're actually still true pomades, and they embody these characteristics we normally associate with oil-based products. And so by taking the great characteristics of oil-based pomades and its performance, and then taking the convenience and the cleansiness of a water-based pomade, and by combining the two, we start kind of questioning why we use either of the water-based or oil-based when we have these hybrids that really truly optimize between the two and are by far the best performing new genre of pomades in this market. So you'll kind of see for the next from now onwards, there's been more people releasing these types of products, and we'll be focusing on a lot of them on this blog here, because I mean this is where the innovations are happening, and this is where we want to pay attention to. And so today we'll be looking at Rustin water-based deluxe pomade. This is one of two. The other one is the Supreme pomade, which is slightly stronger than this one. I've been using it for the past week. It definitely met my expectations, and it's a great product. And we'll go ahead and look at it, and we'll start off of course by looking at the jar. So this is the pomade right here. Rustin water-based deluxe pomade. It also says medium hold and handmade Houston by Rocky Lopez, excuse me. The ingredients on the left, directions on the right, branding on the face. We see this play on wolves a lot now with Rustin pomade, and it's in a nice clear glass jar with a black lid. And we haven't really seen clear glass jars for a long time now, or rather, I'm trying to think of whether I've ever seen it. Oh yeah, with Railcar Fine Goods, their pomade I believe was in a glass jar, but we don't see that often. And typically we see it in an amber jar, because amber jars, I believe the reason why is actually to protect against UV rays, hence why you see it with beer bottles and growlers and stuff like that. But either way, we have a beautiful glass jar here that really exposes the color of the pomade and how smooth it is, and so it really allows you to see the the nice white, slightly off-white color of the product. And opening it up, you'll see how smooth the product looks as well, and it will remind you a lot of Crystal Lake, and we'll talk about that more during the review. So let's go ahead and start doing that. So this pomade has an interesting smell, and I actually really like it. It's like a musky, sweet cream, kind of like a frosting or some type, but it has some heaviness to it that has a tinge of I mean, the muskiness also pushes it towards the masculine side and stuff like that, but it still is a smooth, sweet cream type of smell. But yes, it's pretty nice. So this pomade, as I said before, looks a lot and actually will perform a lot like Crystal Lake, but the ingredients are different, and I had to check that because I was just this thing is a lot like Crystal Lake, performs like it. It's slightly different, and definitely we'll talk about that as we start using it. But yeah, so if you want something to compare it to, it's really similar to Crystal Lake. And as I said, just as I did in that review, it balls up too, just like that. But this one shears away simply and easily, and the consistency is slightly thicker than Crystal Lake, because obviously by the time this one was released, Crystal Lake had already had its fame and craziness that surrounded it. And so Rocky was definitely inspired by Crystal Lake, but out of respect for Zach and stuff like that, did not copy it. So we'll see a lot of similar characteristics, but also a lot of like minor changes that attempt to pick up where Crystal Lake left off. That's interesting. So like this scent has like definitely like lost a lot of its sweetness and picked up a more like minty type of like scent. So I like it. And so this is with one scoop, and you can really see how nicely like I can actually probably just style like something like loose and like a hand comb pop right now. So that's really nice. But we're gonna go for a pompadour today. So let's see, differences between this one and Crystal Lake. Obviously besides the scent, like Crystal Lake has what that pomade exudes is like a really nice and like consistent control. Whereas with Rustin, what we see is a slight touch more like hold and stuff like that. A little more something to try to last the day, something to give you like a slightly taller pomp and stuff. And this is consistent in like the other stuff we see from each brewer. But yeah, so texture, it can be balled up, it feels pretty dry in your hands, but as you agitate it, it doesn't become sticky, but it does kind of bring out this waxiness, but it's still really easy to apply to the hair. Alright, and so that should be good. Shouldn't need another scoop or anything, so go ahead and start combing everything back. Everything just combs back beautifully. It's like a soft product to work with that still has that hold that you will want later on. So I'll start forming the part now. With these products, these new water-based pomades, the challenge has been to give it enough strength. For some reason, people have been developing like similar products, and they have similar like performance characteristics, but the hold is like what seems to be lacking in each of these products. Old Dude's water-based being the exception, but at like a certain sacrifice as well. And so one thing we'll be paying attention to is whether the Rustin water-based pomade, this one right here, or the Supreme pomade are able to address this aspect. And so as you can see, my sides are kind of like relatively held down, similar to the base pomade. My sides have been just cut, and so what we see is like relative placement, but not totally slicking down like as though we use some sort of insane super high hold gel like pomade like Suavecito or something. But what we get is just overall cleanliness and overall form. So go ahead and start forming the pomp now. Alright, and so it looks like we are already done. Pretty straightforward. Like with these new water-based pomades, I love them because they really fit how I work with my hair. Like the way I want my hair to move, the way I would expect my hair to move once I comb it, like it gives me that. It's predictable, and so the control is always like really nice. And so what we get is actually a beautiful, tall pompadour. Sides are in place. They're not slicked back perfectly, of course, but they are relatively in place. The part is formed nice, sharp, and straight, and the pomp has a nice spherical shape, good height, and overall really nice form. And we have like a neutral shine. I would say like a notch above, and we'll see whether that lasts like the rest of the day. Also good slickness, not any stray hairs at all really. And we'll see whether that becomes an issue later on throughout the day too, because that happens with some of these. So now we'll go ahead and go throughout the whole day, come back in a few hours and talk about the pomade and kind of see how well it endured and see if it actually really takes on, or rather embodies the characteristics that Sheer Revival Crystal Lake could not. So go from there. Alright, what up guys? So I'm back now. Let's go over the hair and see how well Rustin Water-Based Deluxe Hold performed. As you can see, my hair is at about 50 to 70% of like what it was this morning. Like I did lose a significant part of that hold. And that's not unlike Crystal Lake, Sheer Revival's Crystal Lake. The form is still there, the overall shape is still good, like it's still recognizable. And the thickness is still there, so I don't really have any stray hairs, but that hold was like just lost. Restyling it was really easy. The hair is still soft. I can still get like my comb through, no problem, and work with it, but that hold was no longer there and I can't get it back. So do expect to lose like a lot of volume out of your pomp throughout the day, but you still have the general shape of your hair. So endurance, slickness, and like the shine is good, but like the hold is definitely like still in the general range of the other like water-based pomades that we see right now, in terms of the water-based pomades that don't dry. What else? Like I said, restylability, the hair is still soft. It's kind of difficult to try to style a loose pomp door with this one. It's a little too like wet to do so. You want a more on the side of like dry for that extra texture and that extra like waxiness to give you that high strength to weight ratio. It's not to say that you can't do it, but it's just not optimal for it. It is an option though. Washing it out, this product washes out completely and it never dries, of course, stays soft the entire day. And overall my hair feels like really healthy, it feels nice and it's comfortable. Like not at like a single point in the day did I ever say like, ew, this thing feels a little greasy, it feels a little discomforting. Not at all. Like it felt nice throughout the whole day. And so in all honesty, like yes, Rustin Water-Based Pomade Deluxe Hold receives my seal of approval. Like it's still in line with many of the other like new water-based pomades we see today. Sheer Revival Crystal Lake, Anchor's Teddy Boy, Old Dude's Water-Based, the base pomade, stuff like that. It's still in line with it. But even comparing that to the rest of the market, those things, that whole group of products are far ahead of what we normally see on the market today. And so, as part of that group, like definitely, this thing is good. It's a great product. Of course, these are new products. There's still improvements to be made, and there's like definitely still ways to go to make it even better. But it's within the foreseeable future. Like we definitely expect to see this soon. It's not gonna be far off. It's gonna be soon. And even at this point today, like I don't use oil-based pomades anymore. I mean, I use them like extremely occasionally for like some sort of extreme reason, but on the day-to-day I use products like this because they're more convenient. They give me the same performance, sometimes even better, actually most of the time even better. And so there's not really many good reasons to use an oil-based pomade anymore, unless, with the one exception, you're looking for some super strong ridiculous hold, or you're just struggling for money, because the oil base does allow you to use the least amount of product, and over the course of like a month you barely use anything because it always stays in your hair. So that is a huge money saver and stuff like that. But either way, let's get this review done. Rustin Water-Based Pomade Deluxe Hold definitely receives my seal of approval. It's a great product. I would highly recommend it. And on top of that, I do still have the promo code for Rustin, the Pomp. I believe it's 10% right now, but I don't want to guarantee that because it might increase over time. I don't want you guys watching this video later thinking it's only 10%. But either way, just check it out. The Pomp, no spaces, no nothing, all caps, Rustin for a huge discount, and pick this thing up. So other than that, we will be reviewing tomorrow on Memorial Day. We'll be looking at the Supreme Hold. So I'll see you guys tomorrow.